Center court, and off we go. The Mike Woodson era is underway in Bloomington. Some new faces out there. Xavier Johnson, the transfer from Pittsburgh. Parker Stewart, the transfer from UT Martin. And Miller Kopp, number 12, the transfer from Northwestern. But here's the All-American, missing his first shot, Trace Jackson Davis.
They go right to Jackson Davis to start the ball game against an inexperienced defender in Okongo.
And on the other side, Eastern Michigan, they also have a new head man, Stan Heath. First season as head coach after they had Rob Murphy for the last 10 seasons. So a lot of change for Eastern Michigan out of the MAC as well this year.
And you'll notice defensively a big change for folks who have followed Eastern Michigan for the last decade. Exclusively a 2-3 zone team. Look for a lot more man-to-man under Coach Heath.
Coach Heath, experienced Division I coach, but coaching in the G League the last 4 seasons. Late in the shot clock here. Up top, Golson's going to have to let it fly, and Kopp got to him, and then the desperation heave is off the backboard, and an early shot clock violation and a turnover.
And Brandon, you saw the assertiveness defensively by Indiana. A lot of ball pressure, switching, communication, a little bit of a change from the pack line defense you've seen utilized over the last few seasons.
That's right, Sean. It is different, but Mike Woodson says, my identity is as a defensive coach. That's where he built his brand in the NBA. So these guys are going to be hard-nosed on that side of the ball. Indiana last year, 12-15 in the final season under Archie Miller as Parker Stewart forces the shot, has it blocked, and Eastern Michigan gets it back. Step back three on the way, and off the mark by Noah Farrakhan. Here's Stewart, he can let it fly, and he knocks it down.
And an excellent job in transition. Stewart got his feet set, but that pass led him right into the shot, hit him right in the shooting pocket. Excellent job in transition.
And here's Stewart coming up with a loose ball. Kopp will let it fly. Ooh, way too much, but an offensive rebound and a reset. Indiana, they certainly want to shoot the ball better from deep after being 32% last year. Stewart, he's got 2 of them.
This is a guy that during his time at UT Martin put up 19 points per ball game a couple seasons ago, had 12 games with at least 20 points.
And he hit 71 threes in that season, Sean. Trying to even things. Golson with an air ball that comes down into the hands of Race Thompson. Parker Stewart, you mentioned UT Martin. He started his career at Pitt. A couple of different stops for the young man who has all 6. And now Jackson Davis makes it 8-0 Indiana. And Eastern Michigan wants an early timeout. Action since February of 2020, and it doesn't look, Sean, like there's much rust on the young man.
Well, his first shot was rejected, but he did not allow that one mistake to carry over into 2 or 3 possessions. Really like the way he responded after that opening salvo.
So now how will Eastern Michigan respond? Noah Farrakhan brings it up. You know, we mentioned the transfers for Indiana. Eastern Michigan has 11 new faces of the 15 on their roster this season. This is one of the returners in Darion Spotsville, but he lost it off his knee out of bounds.
And Indiana really dictating what Eastern Michigan is trying to do offensively. They're there on the catch. They're not allowing any easy ball reversals, and you can see the frustration early on for Coach Heath.
Coach Heath, who, by the way, was the head coach at Kent State when they lost to Indiana in the Elite Eight back in '02. Race Thompson, who's been practicing that jump shot in the offseason, can't find the range there.
Yeah, struggled from behind the arc a year ago. Only 20% conversion rate for Thompson.
Yeah, that's something he's been trying to improve upon, Sean. He and Trace Jackson Davis.
Nice job by Stewart of being there on the catch. Really good job. Well done.
And that forces the missed shot in Indiana. Trying to get it up ahead to Trace Jackson Davis, but it turnovers, it falls down to Golson.
could see the switching defensively. Good hedge there by Trace Jackson-Davis.
Here's Farrakhan, one of those transfers. He comes from East Carolina. Fade away, off the mark, and the Eagles still scoreless. Crossover, Xavier Johnson, and he throws it away. So turnovers aplenty here. Eastern Michigan with 3, a couple for Indiana. And there's a rejection by Race Thompson.
Good job of maintaining verticality. He was the lone defender back there. Wonderful job of moving his feet and then maintaining verticality for the block.
Well, things a little sloppy early, but the bottom line is Indiana with an 8-0 lead, and Race Thompson doing, Sean, a good start for Indiana.
Parker Stewart knocked down a couple of threes, but defensively he's been impressive as well. Starts with an outstanding closeout, forcing to help, leads to a transition opportunity. Watch his eyes, right on the letters of the defender, forcing a difficult shot. So Parker Stewart making his impact known here early on both ends.
Missing the last shot there for the Hoosiers, up 8-0 here in the opener of the 2021-22 season, and another miss for Eastern Michigan. It belongs to Indiana. So the Eagles have had 10 possessions, 3 turnovers, and still 0 points. Not the start that Stan Heath was hoping for. In first year as a head coach of Eastern Michigan, played there in the 80s. And coached against Indiana, the 0-2 Elite Eight when he was a head coach at Kent State. The Hoosiers would go on to win that game and then lose in the final game of the year to Maryland. Indiana's having some turnover woes here early as well. Rejected second block for Race Thompson.
Boy, Thompson just got off the floor so explosively. You can tell that not just skill-wise, but physically, he's a little bit different than we've seen over the last couple of years. I think he's also hoping that he's healthy.
Yeah, that's been one thing for him throughout the first few years, just not being healthy. And there is something that Trace Jackson-Davis, Sean, spent a lot of time on in the offseason, his mid-range jumper. And
what that will do, Brandon, as the game unfolds, a shot fake, and he'll be able to get to the rim and complete.
In and out on the attempt from Nate Scott. And Eastern Michigan remains cold. But Trace Jackson-Davis, after this block from Thompson, 2 of those now.
And able to step in there, Okongo willing to give it to him, and Trace Jackson-Davis able to knock that down. If he's able to become a consistent threat from out there on the perimeter, a guy that has really become nearly unguardable, especially going over that right shoulder, will become even more so with that versatility.
Mike Woodson, I mentioned his DNA as a defensive coach as Stewart misses that one off the heel. And he said our defense is probably a little bit ahead of our offense right now. And so far the defense has been solid. Off balance, mid-range, and another miss from Noah Farrakhan.
Nice roll. Excellent job.
Tennessee tried to slip it in, and that went off the shoulder of Race Thompson. So, mentioning Eastern Michigan with their turnover woes, that's now 4 of them, though, on the Hoosiers.
And Xavier Johnson, you can tell, is really trying to push. A number of those turnovers have come from the pit transfer. Well, he's trying to force something.
Farrakhan drives in the lane. He got tripped up. And the first Indiana foul. Here comes at the 13:25 mark. And it's on Race Thompson. Officials, by the way, Kelly Pfeiffer, Bill Eck, Ed Phillips on the whistle tonight. Trouble getting it in, and a 5-second call.
And you saw the communication and the fact that Indiana was jumping every opportunity for Eastern Michigan to inbound the ball. Everyone's doing their job. They take away every opportunity. Spots with the loneliest guy in America, and yet another turnover for Eastern Michigan. Fortunately for the Eagles, it was a dead ball turnover.
So each team with 4 turnovers. Ooh, an easy look. Jackson-Davis missed it off the window. Long three, Thomas Benelli. That's what he does. Three-point shooter, but a little too strong.
He's from Italy. That doesn't mean you have to shoot from Italy.
But he has the capability, a guy that missed last year due to injury, but the scouting report on him is he can step out and shoot it. And here's a long-range shot from Tamar Bates. That's the other freshman along with Logan Duncan in this Mike Woodson lineup. Driving, and there are the first points for Eastern Michigan. It comes at the 12:39 mark, a much-needed basket.
One of the few times Trace Jackson-Davis needed to take that extra step. If he rotates over and takes that extra step, it's going to force Spotsville to give it up. He got a little bit lagging behind the play. He reached with the hand. That allowed Spotsville to turn the corner.
Arion Spotsville, most experienced player for Eastern Michigan amongst all the transfers. This is his 50th game in an Eagles uniform. He's a team captain. But he cannot connect. Still an 8-point game.
Might not be a bad time to get a post touch for Trace Jackson-Davis, with Benelli giving up some size as well as experience.
He's trying to get position in there. Right now, Fennessy on the crossover. Down the lane. Left hand, no. Knocked out of bounds. It'll go the other way. Good defense that time by number 25, Nate Scott of Eastern Michigan. Geronimo, number 22. He's been out there a couple of minutes. Last year, got plenty of time as a freshman. Now a year older as a sophomore. And, of course, the experienced Rob Fennessy. Now in his senior season, guarding the ball up top as Spotsville dribbles it. Spotsville trying to back down Fennessy. He's got the size advantage, but Fennessy blocks it.
Well, Fennessy gave no ground, and Spotsville tried to dislodge it with the shoulder, but Fennessy would have none of it.
Here is Trace Jackson-Davis trying to throw it up. Wow, that's the athleticism of Geronimo. Even though the throw was high, he got up and tossed it through the net. His teammates say that he is a freak athlete. The sophomore out of Newark, New Jersey, was on display there. Running hook. That's no good by Golson. Drake Galloway leads the charge, and he has it taken away. Scott, reverse for two.
Nice job by Scott coming in off the bench. Scott well traveled as well, Brandon. Played at Kennesaw State, Temple, Portland State.
Yeah, fourth school for him. Up and down the lineup, they have, as we mentioned, all the transfers, 11 new faces, 9 of them transfers, and there's Thomas Benelli in his second year of the program after transferring in, and he knocks down the three. All of a sudden, it's a 5-point game. Fennessy, drive and kick. Off the mark, Jordan Geronimo.
Nice job by Eastern Michigan of eliminating Trace Jackson-Davis as a potential offensive rebounder. 2 green jerseys found him.
Good drive and kick. Open Colin Golson, and it is a 2-point game. So from 8-0, now it's 12-10.
Golson, a pretty solid 3-point shooter. The Siena transfer, 38% from behind the arc.
Fennessy, and there he is on the defensive end. Golson rejects it, and we got a timeout on the floor.
Indiana set the tone early, Brandon. Kind of went sleepy for a while.
10th player of the year before going on to be a coach in the NBA. And Sean, he left quite a legacy here in the IU Athletics Hall of Fame, and now back in his first season as head coach.
You mentioned it, player of the year in 1980. His college career ended in the NCAA tournament with a loss to the Purdue Boilermakers, who went on to the Final Four that year in Indianapolis, joining the Iowa Hawkeyes.
There, Tamar Bates, the true freshman, four-star top 30 recruit with his first bucket in an Indiana uniform to stop the 8-0 Eastern Michigan run. Tamar Bates is a guy who originally committed to Texas, but then Shaka Smart left there for Marquette. And so he left and came to Indiana, and here he is bringing the ball up the floor.
Nice screen by Thompson.
That frees Fennessy, and Fennessy knocks it down.
Outstanding job by Thompson of setting the screen, and an even better job, Brandon, of Fennessy of using it correctly, waiting for him to have his feet set, and then coming off shoulder to shoulder.
Good look, but in and out for Colin Golson. And Bates leads the charge. Trey Galloway, sophomore, who played more minutes than any other freshman last year, number 32 on the high left wing. There he is on the back cut. And here's Bates again, driving up with a left hand. Pretty boy, they think this guy, Sean, has a high ceiling, and you can see why.
He covered a lot of ground. No wasted dribble there by the freshman. Good finish with that left hand.
6'5", long arms, long legs, and a really good athlete. And there's an offensive foul on the screen by Okongo.
An illegal screen by Eastern Michigan. Contrast that with what Thompson does a couple possessions ago, Brandon. Watch him come set right here. And then Fennessy does an outstanding job of coming off shoulder to shoulder. That did not allow Eastern Michigan to get over the top of that screen, but it started with Thompson coming under control, getting his feet set, and then Fennessy not rushing. That did not allow the opportunity for Thompson to roll through that screen.
So it's been a game of run, Sean. The 8-0 Indiana run to start. Eastern Michigan had an 8-0 run. Now it's a 6-0 Indiana run as that shot is off the mark by Fennessy. Farrakhan catch and release off the mark. Ball knocked around. Offensive rebound by Golson. Golson running hook short. Rebound to Thompson. Galloway. Extra pass. Fennessy for three. Got it.
Beautiful spacing, and you hit on it. The extra pass by Thompson. I've been really impressed with the overall floor game by Race Thompson thus far. His work on the boards you knew about, but he's done an excellent job on the defensive end of the floor and doing the little things. He sent an outstanding screen a couple possessions ago, and here, utilizing spacing. The ball comes out to him on the kick.
In the Elite Eight. And he was actually the leading scorer in that contest. Look at third name there under Odell and Jeffrey, 17 points in that 81-69 Indiana victory. And again, the Kent State Golden Flashes were coaching that one by Stan Heath. Of course, Indiana was coached by Mike Davis. Catch and release, Jordan Geronimo off the mark. But Stan Heath says, oh yeah, I remember that game. I remember Dane Fife, and I'll have a word for him before this contest about that performance. Woo! Benelli, his second three. Thomas Benelli and Sean, both of them have been from very deep.
And that's coming from a guy, you mentioned it earlier, Brandon, who has not played a lot over the last couple of years, did not play a season ago.
Foul up top against Indiana. Seen so far offensively for Indiana.
A little bit more spacing of the floor. We showed it a little bit earlier. Utilization of that high ball screen, the screen and roll. Not that they didn't utilize that in seasons past at Indiana. I think you're going to see a little bit more of a steady diet of that, especially if Trace Jackson Davis is able to step out and knock down some jump shots and score other than just going completely to the rim. And you can tell, Brandon, he's done a lot of work with that offhand. That was a finish with the right hand a season ago. That probably doesn't happen.
Yep, that's a good point. Another thing that he tried to emphasize in the offseason, and now Indiana's back up double figures. There's Benelli again, this time off the mark.
He's serving up the threes family style.
Davis. He is. Trace Jackson Davis also mentioned that he feels like he's in a lot better shape this year than he has been in the previous couple of seasons at Indiana.
I can't say the same.
Off the glass. Pretty finish on the hook from Race Thompson.
I tell you what, Race Thompson has been impressive on both ends of the floor. You can tell he's playing so much more confidently, especially offensively.
Very balanced attack so far for Indiana. Fadeaway shot short from Scott. And a pass wide. That's a turnover by Galloway as Benelli takes it.
Poor pass, but not a good job by Trace Jackson Davis of maintaining the seal on Benelli.
We have learned that Thomas Benelli is not shy. And they're going to give a flop warning here against Benelli after that missed three. Now, 2 of those results in a one-shot technical, but for now, it's just a warning.
He did get hit on the arm.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, that's a tough one to have go against you if you're Eastern Michigan.
Because he also stepped on Trace Jackson Davis's foot when he was coming down to the floor. But he goes to the bench, and now Indiana with a double team on Jackson Davis. Tennessee curls it around to Johnson, and Xavier Johnson buries the triple.
Good job by Indiana utilizing spacing and then putting Eastern Michigan in a scramble mode defensively. The Eagles did a very good job of recovering on the first 2 ball reversals, weren't able to close out on the last in the dribble, drive, and kick.
And after a few years of struggling shooting three-pointers, Indiana fans delighted to see some of these new guys knocking outside shots down. McBride, another block by Thompson, but this time they're going to get him for his second personal foul.
I think what drew the attention of the official, if he points his hand, Brandon, that's going to be a far less easy call for the official to make. But when he swung through and the angle from which the official was making the call, it probably made it a little bit more pronounced.
Remember, this was 12-10. Since then, Indiana is on a 16-3 run.
Watch the spacing, shot fake, force the defense to collapse, and then that pass by Finney. That is so difficult and beautiful because he's having to throw it blindly with the offhand, and it led Johnson right into a shot.
Xavier Johnson, who was second in the ACC last year in assists, 5.7 points per game, but he did knock down 25 threes for the Panthers last year. There's a foul on the floor before the shot. That's the second on the big man, the 7'1" center, Axel Okongo.
Really like what Trace Jackson Davis did there. He was pushed out a little bit away from the block where he likes to do a lot of his work, but rather than panic, he turned and faced the defense. When he saw that he had one-on-one, he put the ball on the floor with a strong hand and drew the contact.
That's actually the third on Axel Okongo, so they gambled keeping him out there, and now on the bench here with still 4+ remaining in the opening half. Johnson, all with a left hand, and he got fouled, bumped by Farrakhan. Free throws coming.
And a nice job by Trace Jackson Davis of giving himself up. Here, it's he that sets the screen. The hesitation dribble allows Johnson to turn the corner, but a good job by Trace Jackson Davis of understanding he can help his team on the offensive end by giving himself up as much as he can, being the focal point.
There are those numbers a season ago with Pittsburgh. And Johnson knocks down the first. Well, Big Ten all morning Saturday. Andy Sabro, Anthony Herron, Brock Green here in Bloomington for the on-campus fun. Big Ten tailgate presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, Saturday 10 a.m. Eastern on the Big Ten Network. And both of them good for Johnson, and Indiana leads by 15.
And that was an area of struggle a season ago for the Hoosiers. They were 67% from the line as a team, 12th in the conference.
And another rejection. Jackson Davis rising up to swat it out of bounds. Media timeout. Hoosiers doubling up the Eagles. Places they have not been since 2016.
And you also want to give the young man credit. You know, we live in a world where sometimes people get told what they want to hear, not necessarily what they need to hear. He was willing to take what he needed to hear from Coach Woodson, who has experience at the NBA level, and he's coming back and putting that knowledge to use.
That certainly was a big selling point for him, Mike Woodson, all that time in the NBA since 1980 as a player and then as a coach, as a travel by Golson. And Trace Jackson Davis, Sean, he certainly said, look, did that influence me? Absolutely. I can learn from a guy who knows what it takes at that next level.
I just want to give the young guy credit because there have been others that have had the opportunity to get that kind of insight, but unfortunately, they haven't taken it to heart.
Shot fake, Rob Fennessy. Allen fadeaway, 12-footer, all net, 32-15 Indiana.
Boy, that's a good sign if you're Indiana because he has struggled shooting the ball over the past couple of years, has battled some injury issues of his own. Always been a stalwart on the defensive end, but if he can become somebody that becomes a viable offensive option, his minutes will improve dramatically.
A guy, Sean, who has averaged 7 points in his career at Indiana, and he already has 7 here, and we're not even through the first half. Now he brings the ball up the floor. Fennessy looking for double figures, in and out. Jackson Davis, and it's pulled out of there by Spotsville. Off balance, no foul call. McBride chases it down. It falls into the lap of Golson, and he lays it in. Fennessy coming off the bench tonight with Johnson starting, but he does have 69 career starts in a Hoosier uniform. Well, you see underneath the basket.
I think you're going to get a flop. I think you're going to get a flop warning. There was some contact. You mentioned it, Brandon, and you could see it unfolding.
And you're right, Sean. They're just going to say play on as is with a little over 2 minutes remaining in the opening half.
But Johnson has to be cognizant since they took the time to go over and take a look at that. They will be watching him to make sure that if a similar situation arises, he may not get the benefit of the doubt.
Stewart giving it back up to Johnson. And he's going to stop and pop off the front of the iron. Indiana 4 of 14 from long range. Just 3 of 12 from deep so far for Eastern Michigan.
Stewart has been impressive moving his feet.
That time, Golson able to shoot it over him and knock it down. Parker Stewart, Sean, he's an older guy, 23 years old, but just his 3rd college season because he sat 2 years due to transferring. Here he is. Down the lane, left hand up, no, but Xavier Johnson has earned himself a trip to the line.
That's the 2nd time that Johnson has utilized that change of pace. He'll start dribbling hard, kind of relax, get the defender up out of his stance, and then be able to hit that afterburner and get to the rim.
This is the first. Saturday, back to football. Doubleheader kicks off for the Hoosiers against Rutgers, and then the Floyd of Rosedale on the line in Iowa City. Minnesota, the Gophers and the Hawkeyes do a battle. Saturday, Big Ten Network, Fox Sports app. 1 of 2 for Xavier Johnson. Indiana leads at 33-19. Brandon Gaunt, Sean Morris, producer Denny Blunt, director Billy Proctor, our entire crew, pleased to be with you for the first of 3 games tonight on the Big Ten Network. Trapped underneath, Farrakhan, And they're going to say a violation of verticality there against Xavier Johnson defending.
Yeah, Johnson did a really good job of moving his feet, but then he gets into the cylinder of the offensive player right there. You can see him, even though his hands are up, the lower body is going into the ball handler for Eastern Michigan, hence the call.
But a pretty low foul first half. If you add them both together, just 9 between the two teams. And of course, just as I say that, we get our 10th foul of the first half.
Famous last words, Brandon.
As Mike Woodson, the 63-year-old head coach, looks on for the Hoosiers. Oh, look what I've done now. That one is on Galloway, so now 16 fouls on the Hoosiers here in this half. Next one in Eastern Michigan will be at the line as Fennessy checks back in.
And if you are Eastern Michigan, you have to be cognizant of that fact, because you can then attack off the dribble and force Indiana to make a decision. Don't settle.
Here's Golson, the transfer from Siena. Has it rejected. Jackson Davis with a block, and then a foul against Eastern Michigan.
Eastern Michigan attacking off the dribble. Nice job there by Trace Jackson Davis of giving some space. That allowed him right here to utilize the length. He comes with that inside hand. Will go the other way.
Jackson Davis, 6 points, 7 rebounds, now 2 blocks. Indiana with 4 blocks, the other 2 by Race Thompson, who's on the bench with 2 fouls. Open 3, Johnson short.
Kind of an unorthodox looking jump shot by Xavier Johnson. So he needs a little bit of space to get that shot off, and that double team on Trace Jackson Davis and the kick out provided ample space.
Well, Eastern Michigan now, Sean, 7 field goals made this half and 8 turnovers, and building up this 14-point deficit. A very slight difference between shot and game clock. Tennessee lost it. Jackson Davis, and they'll say it stays with Indiana. 0.7 of a second difference, shot and game clock here. Tennessee to trigger it. Miller Kopp yet to score. He got fouled. Count the basket. The Northwestern transfer, his first bucket in that new cream and crimson uniform.
Nice action. Good job by Kopp of putting it on the floor. 2 things really impress you there. Playing through the contact, and then as the ball goes up, watch where his eyes are. They never leave the target.
Guy who had 73 starts in 3 seasons for Chris Collins in Evanston. That makes it 36-19, and Indiana will match its largest lead as they head to the locker room. In the first half of the Mike Woodson era, pretty solid as the Hoosiers are on touch. And he said, Sean, that look, our defense right now is a little bit ahead of our offense, and I would say that's what we saw in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's more than fair. They did a good job of setting the tone, as that previous graphic showed you. They really set the tone on the defensive end. Eastern Michigan was not able to get into any kind of flow, but to the Eagles' credit, they were able to battle back before Indiana went on another run.
Stopping on a dime, but missing the jumper, Monty Scott. Eastern Michigan will keep it, but they have more turnovers than field goals made. 8 turnovers and 7 for 32 from the floor for Stan Heath's crew. They're trying to mix in all those new pieces for the Eagles out of the MAC. Scott drives in, lost his footing. Out of bounds, it'll stay on this end with 10 to shoot.
And Scott saw Trace Jackson Davis rotating over, and that led him to slip, and Eastern Michigan very, very fortunate to maintain possession.
His father, James Scott Sr., was a standout at St. John's in the mid-90s, and as we talked about, he's in his 4th stop for Eastern Michigan as his teammate Farrakhan misses the mid-range jumper. Stewart hit a couple threes in the first half. Here a wild pass, but Thompson able to keep it in play. And a nice drive, no good, but the follow by Trace Jackson Davis.
Good job by Trace Jackson Davis of not becoming a spectator, attacked the rim, and Eastern Michigan did not locate him. He made him pay.
8 points, 8 rebounds now for Trace Jackson Davis, the preseason All-American. Corner 3, off the heel for the southpaw Golson. Largest lead for the Hoosiers right now. Kopp stop and pop, no. Little contact in the lane, then an air ball. And an unfortunate miss for Golson. He was right underneath the basket.
And he took his eye off the rim. He saw Trace Jackson Davis there. That led to the miss.
He can have that impact underneath. And Xavier Johnson, a couple of buckets, give him 8 in his IU debut.
And Johnson's showing a nice job of being able to finish at the rim with either hand. He's done it with the left, there with the right.
3 years Johnson spent at Pittsburgh. He still has 2 years of eligibility remaining. This and 1 more for the Hoosiers. Knocked out of bounds, and they'll say off of Indiana.
Trace Jackson Davis doing a nice job on the rotation. Okongo has to lose sight of him. Watch him. Goes right to the rim and attacks. If you are Eastern Michigan, Okongo's showing a little bit of that inexperience. You have to help and then get back and locate Trace Jackson Davis.
Big jump stop in the lane. Farrakhan, no good. Put back, yes, for the 7-1 center, Axel Okongo. Like Farrakhan, though, is struggling 0 of 9. Kopp misfires from 3 for the Hoosiers.
And I think the hesitation by Kopp led to the miss. He had a chance to get that shot off earlier. I don't know if he just didn't catch it cleanly, but that hesitation forced it long.
No hesitation there from Monty Scott as the senior buries the 3.
Scott put up 17 points per ball game during the aforementioned pre-stop at Kennesaw State.
Yeah, 2 years there, 1 at Temple, 1 at Portland State, and now his final season in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Jackson Davis, left hand, yes, he's in double figures. Turnover, 9th of the game for the Eagles. Thompson, Jackson Davis.
Brandon, we talked about it. Race Thompson setting the tone. He's known as a rebounder. Watch what he does here. This little fan dribble. That creates the opportunity for Trace Jackson Davis to run the lane. If he dribbles in a straight line, this opportunity is not available for Trace Jackson Davis. Savvy in the open floor, and Race Thompson showing a lot more confidence. And Brandon, you and I were talking to Coach Woodson. He felt that he had the opportunity to play with a little bit more freedom. That was a great example there.
Yeah, and Race Thompson has the jumper knocked down there by Scott. But Race said he's really enjoyed the opportunity to handle the ball a little bit more, run the break, something he used to do in high school, and now obviously 6'8", 235, hasn't done it very much at Indiana, but we are seeing that tonight from number 25. And here he is, passing it again to Trace Jackson Davis. So Race Thompson, few assists tonight to go along with a well-rounded effort. There he grabs his 9th rebound. Here's Jackson Davis again, and he's fouled. And under 16 media timeout is upon us.
Race Thompson making his presence felt here. everything. The communication is starting to come, and I think the fact that they've been so good on the defensive end of the floor, especially at the early part of the season, you can also trace that back to the opportunity they had to have a couple of games in the Bahamas in the offseason to kind of start to put things together.
Trace Jackson Davis, 229 free throw attempts last year, led the entire country. These are his first attempts tonight. But for Mike Woodson, also, you know, the graphic showed that he was an assistant on the 2004 Pistons title team, and that was one of the best defensive teams in NBA history. Benelli has it knocked free by Cobb. Cobb, and he got tangled up, and they're going to call the foul on Eastern Michigan.
Personal foul, Eastern Michigan, number 23, Thomas. Is first.
Active hands, good job by Kopp of coming in with that offhand. If you're Benelli, you have to protect the ball far more assertively than that because it leads to breakout opportunities.
It was the 10th turnover for Eastern Michigan. Indiana with 6 turnovers here tonight. Thompson. Second time he's tried a 3, has missed them both. Here comes Farrakhan. Eastern Michigan. Ooh, I thought he was going to get him with the off arm shot reaching around there.
They blew the whistle, and they got Johnson with the defensive foul. But if that whistle is blown a fraction of a second later, you have a swim move there. We're going the other way with an offensive foul on Scott.
Yeah, Johnson tried to sell that, but to no avail. It is against number 0 for Indiana. Farrakhan rejected, but a foul. Race Thompson, who already has a couple of blocks, now picks up his 3rd personal. And Noah Farrakhan, who's had a tough night, 0 of 10 from the floor in 21 minutes, has yet to score. A chance to get his first point. And he does. The Big Ten Plus app, powered by the Big Ten Network. That's your home for hoops, as the Hoosiers are back on the floor for a matchup with Northern Illinois Friday. Action tips off 7 Eastern Friday. So download the Big Ten Plus app. Subscribe today. You're going to need that all season long. And if you're a Hoosiers fan, you need it starting Friday. Coming through the screen, Miller Kopp off the mark. He was a 40% three-point shooter his first season at Northwestern, 34% last year. What a recovery. Jackson Davis with another block. And then the alley-oop.
Nice sequence, to say the least, by Trace Jackson Davis.
Wow, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 block shots after that sequence. McBride, and there's 4 on a frustrated redshirt senior Race Thompson.
Trace Jackson Davis, watch him not give up on the play, keeps it in play, and then he doesn't become a spectator. He sprints. He blocks it on one side, turns and goes up all the way to the other end of the floor. Watch 23. You know what, Brandon? When the big dog runs like that, you don't give him a snack. You give him a full meal. Take that.
You know, I mentioned they've got him for 3 blocks, Sean, but he's had a couple deflections as well. He's impacted so much on the defensive end of the floor.
And discouraged a couple of opportunities as well with a strong show was the dribble drive. One of them led to a turnover.
Thompson, who's had a good night despite not scoring much. He's been all over the place defensively. He'll have a seat with those 4 fouls as the free throws are knocked down by Bryce McBride. Rob Finney back in. And Sean, the interesting thing this year will be to see Rob Finney and Xavier Johnson and how those minutes are split up for the Hoosiers. But right now they're both on the floor.
And the one thing that Finney has, he's taken better care of the ball historically than Johnson. Johnson had a lot of assists last year. You mentioned it with about 6 per ball game. But the assist-turnover ratio of Finney has always been solid, even though he struggled offensively from time to time. 2-to-1 assist-turnover ratio.
And there he let the 3 go and missed it. Yeah, to your point, Johnson, though, 59 turnovers last year at Pitt, despite those 103 assists. Benelli can't get it off. And Eastern Michigan, who struggled all night offensively, misses another good look there from Farrakhan. Here's Johnson. You're right, the release is a little different for Johnson.
Yeah, he shot that like he was adjusting for the wind.
That one goes down for Bryce McBride from outside.
McBride, the leading returning scorer for Eastern Michigan a season ago at 14 per outing.
And things getting a little more interesting, so Mike Woodson is going to take a timeout as what was once over a 20-point advantage is now down to 15.
A couple of really outstanding big guys. Trevion Williams, a preseason all-conference nominee. Edey, really good as a freshman. How they kind of mix and match with those guys is going to be very, very interesting. And you mentioned one of the 2 teams right now playing on BTN Plus in Purdue. How about Maryland? They also mined the transfer portal, got a couple of outstanding players, and they also returned Eric Ayala, so don't sleep on the Terrapins.
Yeah, good point. Wild shot there by Tamar Bates, and then he tried to track it down, and he picked up the foul, the young true freshman. Yeah, Bates is one guy that I mentioned as a true freshman. The other we haven't seen yet, Logan Duncombe, freshman from Cincinnati, Ohio. That's the 2 scholarship players in this freshman class for Mike Woodson.
Yeah, that was the easiest call in America.
Hold defensively. That's on Geronimo. The other guy that's not playing tonight is right there. That's Michael Durr. Now, he's a transfer from South Florida that they've got high hopes for, but he has struggled with a knee injury, and he was questionable tonight and obviously not playing in the hooded sweatshirt. Off balance inside, no good for Golson. But Durr, Sean, when they get him back, I mean, he's 7 feet tall, 250 pounds. They think he's going to be an impact player.
9 points, 8 boards per ball game at South Florida. And I think the other thing that he will do is, boy, you want to talk about somebody that can give Trace Jackson Davis a physical presence, especially when you consider the post players that Trace Jackson Davis will face throughout the course of the season. Coburn, Hunter Dickinson, players like that, to have a guy like Durr who can give you minutes, not only just on the game, but also in practice, very important as they try.
Tomorrow, Big Ten Network, Fox Sports app. Micah Shrewsbury taking over. He's no native to the state of Indiana. Born in Indianapolis, went to Hanover College in this state. He was an assistant at both Butler and then Purdue, and now gets to lead the new program, his new program in State College. Catch and shoot off the inbound pass and a miss by Finney, and it pinballs around to Golson.
And what Benelli took him right in the
Eastern
face.
Michigan. Yeah, I just saw that as you were saying it, and so they're going to blow the whistle here, and Benelli in some pain. Four NCAA tournament appearances between the schools. Also Big East Coach of the Year, Sean. That was the other one back in 2012 when he was at South Florida, when they were in that conference. So they reviewed it, and they did end up giving the technical to Parker Stewart. So that will put Eastern Michigan at the line. And now with the free throws, they're back within 13. And they've got the ball here with 11:38 to go. You get a bucket here, things going to get a lot more interesting.
Yeah, you have to give Eastern Michigan a lot of credit. They haven't been able to get any kind of offensive flow, but it has continued to hang around, as you mentioned earlier. And I believe that was ruled an F1 on Indiana.
Yeah, flagrant one. Good look there by Golson, but he left it short. Frustrated with himself. And the ball belongs to the Hoosiers. By the way, Sean, when we showed that box score earlier of 2002 Indiana-Kent State, you know the name that I failed to mention that was the elephant in the room was Antonio Gates. Obviously, now the retired tight end of the NFL who played for Kent State started in that game.
I won't hold it against you, Brandon.
Yeah, he and Dane Fife were two of the best players in the state of Michigan back in their formative years, as that one's off the mark for Jordan Geronimo.
Probably the next stop for Antonio Gates is going to be a bust in Canton. I mean, he was a fantastic tight end at the NFL level.
Yeah, he set a ton of records. There's a jam by Nate Scott, and Eastern Michigan continues this surge. Open three, and that one is short by Trey Galloway, and another rebound for the Eagles.
And Eastern Michigan right now is speeding up Indiana.
And they're also out hustling Indiana, although Spotsville cannot stay in bounds.
Nice dribble drive, draw the defenders. Really good job of waiting. Timing is everything. If that dive occurs maybe a half a second to a second earlier, that passing angle is not there. Good two-man basketball by Eastern Michigan. You have to hold off, wait for the defense to operate and commit, and then dive.
The Eagles are on a 9-0 run. The Hoosiers have missed their last 6. And that stops right there. Trace Jackson-Davis now has 18 points.
And quit messing around. Good job by Indiana of understanding that the momentum had started to switch to the visitors. You get Trace Jackson-Davis on that side of the floor where he's most comfortable going with the left hand.
This time going with the right is Bryce McBride, and he picks up the foul on Galloway.
His third personal, he fouled number 7. Number 4,
this is the captain, the starting point guard last year, led the team in assists, number 2 in points. Said he's been a calming influence with all of the new guys that have come into the program as he knocks down the first. Well, tomorrow, don't miss the 2021 Big Ten Men's Soccer Tournament semis. First Penn State, Michigan, then the Hoosiers hosting Northwestern. Live coverage tomorrow, noon Eastern, Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Both free throws good for McBride. He'll have a seat as Farrakhan returns.
Good job by Benelli. Good job of beating Trace Jackson-Davis to the spot, forcing him out.
Galloway baseline drive bumped by Scott.
Number 2, Monty Scott, goes first. The team's 4. Bryce McBride returns number 4 for the Eagles.
Tamar Bates back in, and the freshman throws it away. 7th turnover for Indiana. First in over 10 minutes. Wing 3, and that is good by Bryce McBride, and we're back down to single digits.
Nice job by Eastern Michigan of drawing the double team and then looking weak side. Eastern Michigan, we talked about their confidence and struggling on the offensive end in the early going. Their body language belies that now.
Jordan Geronimo, the best jumper in an Indiana uniform, and he throws it down with 2 hands. And that one is deflected by Galloway, but Eastern Michigan keeps it. Shot clock did not reset. Long three, top of the arc, front iron.
Nice sequence overall defensively. It started individually with Galloway, then the good closeout in the contest.
With that rebound, Jackson Davis just had a double-double, and then Trey Galloway floats it up and in. And Farrakhan still cold. Gosh, Sean, he's 0 of 12 from the field. Lob it inside, but a bad pass off the rim. Turnover as Finney tried to find Jackson Davis. Indiana wobbling a little bit, but still up a dozen with 7. Isaiah Thomas, of course, a Hall of Famer in the NBA as well, part of the 1981 National Championship team at Indiana. And the 75th anniversary team for the NBA just got named a couple of weeks ago. And look at the list of Big Ten members, including Isaiah Thomas. And, of course, the Iceman, George Gervin, was on that list as well. And I think it's going to be a travel, yes, on Noah Farrakhan. That's the 11th Eastern Michigan turnover. Cutting inside, Bates off balance, but he got bumped. And free throws coming.
Nice set there by Indiana. The cross screen, the screen being set for Trace Jackson Davis, that forced Eastern Michigan to have to kind of locate him. A little bit of window dressing. They get caught watching Trace Jackson Davis rather than ball you man. That allowed the catch at the elbow and the dribble drive.
Indiana, this is the 8th free throw attempt of the night. Hoosiers struggled from deep, 4 of 20. That's a continuation, as we talked about, from the last few seasons. But they're well over 50% shot from inside the arc.
But to your point, a season ago, Indiana last in the conference and made threes at 6 per ball game and toward the bottom in terms of three-point shooting percentage at 32% per game.
Bates gets both free throws. He has 6 in his Hoosier debut. The lead is back to 14. Driving inside, Spotsville rejected, but goaltending. Trace Jackson Davis got it late.
And Spotsville, not a very good three-point shooter. They don't close out under control. He's able to turn the corner and hits the backboard. Easy call for the official to make.
Back down to a dozen inside of 7 minutes. Bates lets it fly off the heel. Rebound to the big man, Okongo.
Yeah, and Bates kind of bailed out Eastern Michigan defensively. No ball reversal. First pass, he launches it.
That one does not bounce down. The rebound into the hands of Geronimo. And then Okongo is going to pick up his 4th foul here, getting tangled up with Trace Jackson Davis.
And Trace Jackson Davis doing a good job. He did it in the first half. Here he does it in the second stanza. He catches. He understands he's not necessarily in his comfort zone. He turns and faces the defense, sees what he's dealing with, then the rip through and able to get to that stronger left hand to draw the contact.
Jackson Davis, 23rd career double-double tonight with the 18 points, the 10 rebounds, and the 3 blocks. And his next basket will actually pass Isaiah Thomas on the all-time Indiana scoring list. That one off the mark from Finney. In the lane, runner no good. Well, Eastern Michigan's had some chances, but they're still down 12. Jackson Davis follow, no good. Rebound comes down to Spotsville.
Really good job of spreading the floor. That allowed the one-on-one for Trace Jackson-Davis, just not able to convert.
Now Farrakhan, the freshman from Newark, New Jersey, and he gets bumped by Trey Galloway. For a while, Sean, it just looked like the Hoosiers, when they got it up over 20, they seemed to be in control. It looked like they might extend it even further, but the Eagles have really hung around against Mike Woodson's bunch tonight.
And to Eastern Michigan's credit, it looked like they might kind of get blown out of here, but they kept hanging around and were able to speed up Indiana a little bit out of their comfort zone.
Reminder, this is game 1 of 3, a triple header tonight on the network. Illinois hosting Jackson State, Iowa and Longwood coming up next. Big Ten Network, Fox Sports app. Both free throws good, 10-point game. Xavier Johnson leaning in, got it.
And again, that high ball screen by Trace Jackson-Davis allows Johnson to turn the corner. Good job by the big fella of coming set and then Johnson utilizing it shoulder to shoulder.
Johnson with 10, averaged 14 last year at Pittsburgh. In the lane, left-hand runner, friendly bounce for Colin Golson. Indiana just 4 of 21 from deep. Can Thompson change that? No. 4 of 22 from long range for the Hoosiers. Certainly, though, have seen Race Thompson be more willing to shoot from outside. He's taken 3, but missed all of them. And that bounces down, and all of a sudden, here we go again, 8-point game.
And if you are Eastern Michigan, you have to be cognizant of the foul situation that Indiana finds themselves. 8, continue to drive. You've converted from the foul line. Make Indiana defend you without fouling.
And Eastern Michigan with 6 fouls, so free throws the rest of the way for both teams.
Good double team. Nice job.
Double team. But they're going to get a foul, and it's going to be against McBride. He can't believe the call.
We saw a cylinder call go against Indiana here. The favors return. McBride on the double team here. Waits, comes down. Did they give that to McBride?
Yeah, and that's his 4th, Sean, so he's going to go to the bench. And now Trace Jackson-Davis. And he misses the front end. Well, lane violation. So a mistake by Eastern Michigan, and Trace Jackson-Davis gets a mulligan.
Yeah, that's pretty evident.
No question. Nate Scott went a little early.
The Eagle took flight a little early there.
But Jackson-Davis misses the free throw, and the Hoosiers just 6 of 10 at the line. Three-pointer, good! And it's a 5-point game after Farrakhan knocks down the triple.
And that's after he missed his first double-digit field goal attempts.
And driving in here, Xavier Johnson draws the foul, but boy, you're right. Farrakhan was 0 of 13. Now he's made his last 2, and folks, we got a ball game in blue.
Decide when you want to give the foul on Trace Jackson-Davis, because that's been an area of weakness, not just last season, 66% conversion rate, but also tonight he has struggled to convert from the line.
Free throw, no good, and now Indiana 6 of 11 at the stripe compared to that 12 of 13 number for the Eagles. Mike Woodson sweating this one out a little bit more than he was hoping to. Second one good, 6-point game. Prior to that free throw, it was a 7-0 Eastern Michigan run. Farrakhan Farrakhan lost it, but they get it back. He launches the three, and we have a one-possession game.
He is not shy. I mean, you miss your first dozen shots. Keep letting it roll.
And now he's made 3 in a row, Sean. Johnson takes it, but can't get the roll. And Eastern Michigan at one point trailed by over 20. And now they have a chance to tie it or get within one here on this possession. They throw inside, but wide of Golson, and a costly turnover.
Well, Farrakhan had struggled, to say the least, in about the first 30 minutes of this contest, but in the last 5+, he is feeling it. Hand down, man down, splash.
He now has a dozen. There are the numbers. He just kept going. Inside of 3 minutes. Fennessy. No. In the corner. Tracked down by Farrakhan. Splits the defenders. 2 more. He's hit his last 4. And now they're starting to believe. Xavier Johnson setting the table for the Hoosiers. Here's Stewart, hit a couple threes early. He's been quiet since. Can they get it down to the All-American? Here he is, Jackson Davis. Throws it around, beautiful pass to Race Thompson.
Nice job of being unselfish by Trace Jackson Davis. He was able to go over that strong shoulder, but rather than force a shot, was able to come and dish it down to Thompson. And then we've talked about the importance of screening. Here's a great example of it for Eastern Michigan. You don't come to a complete stop, you roll through the screen, it leads to a turnover.
What a big sequence that was.
Right there, you're still moving, easy call. Nice job of not giving up on the play. You have to come to a complete stop, you can't roll through it.
Down inside, Jackson Davis once again to Thompson, and Thompson is fouled. Farrakhan making sure that he didn't get the shot off. Free throws coming.
Trace Jackson Davis, 2 straight possessions, 2 deliveries to Race Thompson. And how about the catch by Thompson? I mean, this pass is down around his knees, and he's able to catch it with his momentum taking him one way and get it up toward the rim. Almost a chance for an and one.
Another guy, Sean, who struggled last year at the line, just above 61%. These are his first free throws this evening. It's 2 shots. Yeah, there was some confusion, but it was a 2-shot foul. Eastern Michigan controlling this second half to pull within 3.
Far side of the floor, if you're Eastern Michigan, you have to pinch down on Trace Jackson Davis and not allow a chance at an offensive rebounding opportunity.
Free throws in the second half. Now Indiana 4 and 9. That makes it a 2-possession game. Here's Farrakhan. He scored the last 10 points for the Eagles. He's looking for more. And they're going to get a foul on Xavier Johnson. And it's going to be 3 free throws. Or not, 3 free throws here for Eastern Michigan. And as you said, their hottest hand with 14 points. He scored their last 10. And the freshman from Newark, New Jersey, toes the line. And calmly knocks down the first. East Carolina transfer led them in both exhibition games, scoring 27 and 18, but he misses a costly second attempt. Misses 2 of them. It stays at 3. See if Indiana tries to get this down inside to their big man. Here he is. Here comes the double. Jackson Davis spins around it, and he'll head to the line.
Brandon, this is why if you're away from the rim and you can't really sense where you are, you turn and face. Watch right here. Turn and face. Don't just start dribbling. Dribble with a purpose. He turns, locates the defense right here. Then he's able to get to that hand. Good job as well. It's a small thing, but an important thing. He didn't extend that inside arm and give the officials a chance to call for a hook. He kept that elbow in tight, able to turn the corner.
Trace Jackson Davis hits the first. That gives him 968 career points and ties him with Isaiah Thomas on the Indiana list. But more importantly right now, Hoosier fans aren't worried about that. They just are enjoying that he has made it a 2-possession game and hoping he can extend it to 5, but he does not.
Brandon, look, if you're Eastern Michigan, you don't need to start hoisting threes. Bear in mind, Indiana, the next common foul will put Eastern Michigan in the double bonus. You can get a better shot if you're Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, it's all about Noah Faircamp right now, Sean, but he misses, and we've got 1 minute remaining here at Assembly Hall. Johnson gets fouled. Heading to the line. That's his 4th personal foul. Xavier Johnson, 4 of 6 at the stripe tonight, and he gets it. Don't forget, after us, second game of our triple header, Jackson State, number 11 Illinois, getting ready to tip. But some unfinished business here in Bloomington, with a 5-point game inside of a minute remaining. If you want to watch the start of that one, you can do so on the Fox Sports app. That Illinois game was the second free throws off the mark. Long rebound, boy, a big one for Indiana. Race Thompson able to secure it.
Well, not able to corral it with 2 hands, but kept it alive with 1 and then stuck with the play. Big, big second possession here opportunity for the Hoosiers.
Now look at the shot clock. Seconds dwindling, gotta let it go. And Thompson, I don't even know if he got it off. He missed it anyway, and Eastern Michigan has it. Down 5 inside of 30 seconds. Farrakhan lets it fly. He got it again, and we're down to a 2-point game. Timeout, Eastern Michigan. Wow. He's got 8.
We don't need that. And go inside. And because Trace Jackson Davis has shown himself to be a capable passer. And if you're Trace Jackson Davis, if you do see that double team coming, because you've kind of struggled shooting your foul shots, make sure you turn, locate, and maybe get it out of your hands quickly.
Xavier Johnson's the one to bring it up. Down the lane. He laid it up and in. 2-possession game. Eastern Michigan needs to hurry. Farrakhan. No. Jackson Davis with a rebound. There's the foul with 6.8. And Indiana can breathe a little easier after that last sequence.
Xavier Johnson, the transfer from Pitt, 14 points, 6 assists per ball game a season ago. And a lot of people pointing, no one moving over. I got him, you take him. Johnson says, I'll take it end to end and convert.
Big bucket for Johnson. Huge rebound for Trace Jackson Davis. His 13th rebound of the night. 19 points. And now 20 for Trace Jackson Davis. And there you go. He passes Isaiah Thomas in the career points category at Indiana. In his 3rd season, and he knocks down both. 68-62. And now Eastern Michigan's going to need a miracle as a timeout is taken here.
talked about what he's been able to do here in the second half in terms of getting things going offensively, but I think it was the fact that Eastern Michigan was able to get the tempo a little bit more to their liking here in the latter part of the second half.
You see Jackson State and Illinois coming up right after us. Here's Farrakhan. Launches another one. That one doesn't go. Rebound Trace Jackson Davis, and that'll do it. The Hoosiers and Mike Woodson escape. And the debut of Mike Woodson back in Bloomington.